Hey, everybody. I am Tommy, and you were on the boat. What's happening? Just Joan. Good to see you. Krista Melinda, Barbara Aldrich, Lisa Trimble. Good to have you here. Both Aldriches, I believe. You know, it's funny, folks. I don't know how long I talked thinking I was live. I'm a pro. I'm a professional YouTuber. You shouldn't try this at home. Happy Saturday. I don't remember what the hell I said for the intro. I had a really good intro going, but I had, it gets rolling. So, it is Saturday Night Boat. I'm going to do a little catch up. We're going to go over a bunch of things. You'll notice I'm wearing the Diddy lid, and the reason is fairly simple. Hey, honey, the deal with Diddy is yesterday, maybe it was the day before, but in the last couple of days, Sean Combs was offered a plea deal. Now, if you remember back when everybody got along, we talked about the possibility of them ever rolling out any kind of a plea deal. And I was of the belief that they're basically almost obligated, right, to hook the guy up with a plea arrangement. It almost never doesn't go down that way. You feel me? There's almost always, in some way or another, a plea deal put on the table. This one, hey, Miss Weedy Poo, what's happening? Christy Wolf, good to see you. Clifton Ferguson, good to see you. Caroline in Canada, glad that you're here. So, here's the offer that they put on the table for the Diddler. 20 years, right? But not just 20 years. 20 years on all of the crimes. Now, he would have the ability to probably get his attorney to argue that they all got run, concurrent as opposed to consecutive. But any way you shake it, you are going to be looking at an awful lot of time for a guy that is basically the same age as me. The Diddler can't go to prison for 30 years and expect to have a life, right? And he sure as shit can't go to prison for 60. So the deal that was put on the table didn't give him any love whatsoever. And that's about what I told you guys. They're going to offer him a deal, and there's no way he's going to take it because the deal is going to be something that Diddy can't live with. By the way, his son is looking like there's a whole lot of crap coming down the pike for his son. The Omarky girl who was on the big ass cruise ship that the Diddlers had rented. That lawsuit, which we first heard about during the Little Rod deal, is starting to progress and move through the courts. So that's a reality, and it's it's not good for the Diddy family, and you hate to see that because. Honestly, I'm not wishing the destruction of the guy's entire family. Although the Omarky case is a little bit different than all of the other ones. You hear her on a tape saying, "Get your hands off my ass. If I want you to touch me, I'll let you touch me." Like she is. Hey, Joseph, good to see you. Blue Bayou, what's happening? Hey, Maxie, there's no shot whatsoever, right? There's no shot whatsoever that's BS. It's on there. And he's saying, no, you're the best on the boat, right? What does that mean, you pervert? I mean, for real, you've just been picking girls that way your entire life, so much so that he said, no, you're the best on the boat. You got to stay here. And she said, look, I can't. I got to get to work. I would have had to ask my boss and get some kind of a permission thing. And he's like, wake your boss up, right? She was saying that because she knew with the boss is asleep, she'd be able to sneak out. And that's really what she was trying to do. But this guy made a play. Good to see you. He made a play, and it's looking like he's probably going to have to face those allegations in court. So nothing good's happening with the Diddler, although we're screaming faster and faster toward this trial. Andrew, the Heat Seeker Boyle, good to see you. Wharton Fissel, what's happening, man? Good to see you. So can we retire the hat? You don't like the hat? Blue Bayou? You don't like that? All right, everybody. Take that up with Blue Bayou. The hat is gone. Blue Bayou has spoken. The other things that we need to bring up to speed, we've got the Blake Lively situation, which is getting kind of fascinating because we knew that the lawsuit that Blake Lively filed was BS. Now, why did they file a BS lawsuit? Well, normally you'd go to make some money, to protect yourself, right, to do whatever. They had to file a BS lawsuit. And the reason they had to was, if you guys remember, what had happened was they leaked a bunch of stuff to the New York Times. And they were afraid that they were going to get in deep trouble for allowing this stuff to be put out in printed form. So they needed to act as if they had subpoenaed that stuff. So they came up with a lawsuit just to justify this stuff. And believe it or not, when you first hear this stuff, you think it might be a joke. but they used a company to file the lawsuits. And through some research, not me, smarter people than me have come up with the fact that that company is a wholly owned subsidiary of Ryan Reynolds, the Canadian husband to Blake Lively. So not a good look, right? Not a good look. And now there's a BS lawsuit suing the people over a BS lawsuit. And if you remember when I first broke this down way back in the day, I started talking about how there were different agencies, different ad agencies. And there was one ad agency that was spinning off from on her own. You remember me telling the story how they confiscated her phone? It was terrifying, right? It was a phone she had since she was 16 or whatever. Turns out when that phone was confiscated, they kind of cloned it, sort of, so that they could get into that. So the entire time that they've been texting back and forth with their client, Justin Baldoni, all of these people have been reading all of the stuff between lawyers and everybody involved. Anybody you're texting to, sexting, anything, they had access to every single part of this woman's phone that entire time. It just gets creepier by the second. It really does. It gets creepier by the second, and it makes you hate Hollywood just a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. And all of the stuff that we were saying in the beginning of this. I mean, honestly, that's pretty much where we're at. It's as ugly as we thought it is. Maybe it could be even worse. Who knows, right? Honestly. But it's a pretty ugly place. My understanding, as of what I've read, he has not taken any deals whatsoever. Now, if you're reading that he took a deal for 30, I'd be willing to bet a paycheck that Sean Combs ain't signing a deal for 30 years. It may have been printed somewhere. There's a lot of people. You could print anything you want. You could say anything you want, right? That's the proof. Now, this is I'm doing this fast because my back is killing me. I've had some problems with my back. I really need to get this thing. I need a backiotomy. Doctor says I need a backiotomy. Yesterday in the chat, somebody said, "Boy, you'd be real proud of Relatable Reese." They said RR, and I couldn't figure out what RR was, and it took me a second. And because I would have thought RQ. I don't think of her as RR. To make a long story short, I truly have no idea how this celebrity news and all this long con. You didn't finish your thought, Lilith. You didn't finish your thought. I'll let you finish it if you want. Or did you just run off? I truly have no idea this celebrity news and all of this long con. Well, maybe pop back when I'm doing a subject that you know about, I guess. I mean, I could start at the beginning and we could start taking this up to where we're at. The long con was an accusation of me ripping a bunch of people off. That's what the long con was. And yesterday, Relatable Reese did a show where she talked more about this. That's why someone yesterday said you'd be proud of Relatable Reese. I'm just going to tell you the truth. I didn't go and read it. I don't watch stuff where people talk about me. I've said this a bunch. I guess people really and honestly think I may be kidding. I don't watch any content that people make about me. I find it depressing. If you don't know who Reese is, okay, then you just got here. This is for all of the people that do, and there's a lot of them that do. I'm not going to rehash my entire life and bring it up to speed. I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but 99% of the people here know who I'm talking about. My understanding from the people that reached out to me was that this was her explaining a little bit more of what happened when the long con video was made. And I got a Cliff Notes version of it. And my stance on it is I still got nothing to say. Sorry if that bums everybody out. It makes a lot more sense. I'll be really honest with you. If what everyone was telling me, the story that she told makes more sense to me, it does. And nothing about how that went down ever made sense to me. And it felt like it just didn't make any curses on you all encouraging that hat. Curses, I say. Blue Bayou, a lot of people really dig the purple hat. On the bright side, I flipped it, so you're good, right? It's no longer here. Thanks, Joey. I appreciate that. Here's the thing. It makes more sense to me. It does. It doesn't really change where I'm at today. The truth be told, folks, the internet is awash in hate, and it is what it is. If you want to go out and find it, it's effing everywhere, right? Shouldn't be hard for you to find it. Looking healthy. Thanks, Andrew. I appreciate that, man. I hope you're doing well. Nothing anyone says makes sense anymore. Well, there's a lot of truth to that, man. There's really a lot of truth to that. We're in a place. I did a couple of shows last week where we came on here and we talked about the gentleman that started the television show Pawn Stars. You can go out and read and watch videos one after the other telling you how he's doing life in prison. He's not. Never happened. But if a story gets any kind of legs, I mean any kind of legs, then it starts to catch a little traction and it starts to get rolling. And that's kind of what happened with a lot of these stories. They take on a life of their own, right? Deadhead says Jaguar, etc. You know, I said something the other day about Jaguar, and somebody left a really hateful message. I didn't bag on Jaguar Wright. I bagged on the fact that Jaguar Wright is now the Diddyverse, right? We don't talk about the crimes anymore. We don't talk about anyone else who's involved. We talk about Jaguar Wright and whether Jaguar is a truthful person or a liar. And regardless, her what I respected about Jaguar Wright and still do is that she brought to our attention a lot of the stories that have gained traction and are seeming to maybe make the earth a little bit better. Yeah. But the problem becomes that everybody just talks about her and the veracity of whether or not what she's doing is telling the truth and all of that stuff. I mean, if you're making 35 videos in a row about one human being, you need help. Honest to God, you need help. Right? If you're making 30 videos in a row about a content creator trashing them, you're not a show anymore. You're not a platform. You're just someone that hates someone and spend all day long talking about them. I don't know. I lose the desire to watch that stuff. And the Diddyverse in general kind of imploded. And the reason was all of this backbiting. The other reason is it's just become so damn profitable. It's become so much money. The bullshit stuff story about the guy from Pawn Stars, right? That has gotten somewhere in the ballpark of 2 to 3 million views. You can put up stuff that isn't real and get paid for it. It's a dangerous thing, isn't it? To me, that's a dangerous concept. And unfortunately, it's one that's getting a lot of traction. The Karen retrial was going to recommence on Monday morning. If you haven't caught us doing the Karen retrial, it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of really cool people that come by. It's something I would definitely like everybody to check out. I hope that the brief little thing that I just said about Reese's stuff puts this to bed. I really do want to stop talking about this. And I haven't. If you go back, I have not spent any time talking about this. I got a lot of hate from people that want me to hate her. It's amazing to me that as much time as we've spent here talking about moving towards love, there are some of you that really just want me to hate this woman. Hate is a cancer. It is. And if I spend my energy hating her, it's not going to hurt her. She's living her life. We don't talk. That hate will just eat me alive. So if you want me to come on here and hate her so that it makes you feel better, then you need to look at yourself in the mirror and question what that's all about. And the way that all went down, there's responsibility in there for me. And there's a responsibility aplenty to go around for a lot of people. Where I feel like maybe I'm a little different is I never sat down at any point with anyone and said, hey, let's hurt this person. Right? There's no premeditation in me. The people that I hurt, and I undoubtedly did, I did not do anything to try to hurt these people intentionally. There are people that went out very much intentionally trying to hurt me. And now narratives are being rewritten about how Reese offended these people, calling them a name. And these people have been making videos about me for 4 friggin' years. If you're new to this, they've been making videos about me and my family for 4 years. This isn't anything new. This is just... Now that there's an ex-girlfriend involved, they can go after her because they think that if they're trashing her, it's hurting me, right? Because they're those kind of people. I don't have any hate left. You may not believe that, but I don't. I've had a really weird experience happen to me in a very brief period of time. I came out of prison knowing I was a piece of shit and a scumbag because that's how prisoners come out of prison. And then I had an amazing thing happen because I started a channel and I started working with people. And then people started telling me I was a pretty decent guy. And I actually had a following of people that showed up and watched. And it was a pretty decent sized following of people that really liked the message of moving closer to love than hate. And then 5,000 of them decided to hate me in 24 hours. If that's an experience that you have not endured in your life, I'm happy for you. Because it is a very difficult experience. And then the craziest shit happened to me that ever happened to anybody in life, I promise you. One of the people who was trashing me the most is a person who I paid a crap load of money to help out of the coffers of the lifeboat. And I'm astounded that a person can go like this and go from, yeah, this person literally helped to save my family to this is the biggest piece of shit I've ever met in 4 seconds. Amazingly, I told that story briefly on here, and that person's daughter reached out to me and said, you sure you gave them money for that, or did that money go somewhere else? It's like getting the number of nights that I stayed awake all night talking to a junkie. And I say junkie because I am. Don't get offended by that. I'm a junkie. Talking to a junkie to try to keep him sober until the sun comes up so that we could pay to get him on medical assisted treatment. For all the people that think I'm a con man, blow me. How's that? I've never asked anybody in the history of this channel for $1. Go back and watch the stuff that I've done and how many times people have said, hey, I'd like to help you with this. And I said, no, are you kidding? You know what the trolls would do with that? There are 25,000 people on this lifeboat, right? Or were at one time, 29,000 at one point. You can find 3 or 4 of them that decided that they hate me and they can say anything they want. Anything. And there's no police to check whether or not what they're saying is the truth. And receipts, the hell's a receipt? Do you know what a receipt is today? It's a text message that you sent somebody in confidence. They're not called text messages. They're called receipts. Austin Metcalf, huh? Can you do me a big favor, Christy Wolf? Can you email that to TommyScoville@gmail.com? When this show is over, I'm not going to remember that you said that. If you email that to my email address, I will look into that. Now, I only know of one death from, I tell you what, I'm not going to do that. I'm somewhat familiar with the Carmelo Anthony Austin Metcalf case, but I'll forget. Send that out to me, and I promise I'll take a look at it. And you have my word on that. No way. That happened in your school district, Kristen? That's frightening. That is frightening. But so it's made for a fairly bizarre turnaround. But there are enough people around that still feel that a positive message is a decent idea. I'm astounded. Right? Over the course of 4 years, you have people that spent 3 of those years going, that's the most evil dude I've ever met. Right? And the second they decided that they were unhappy with me, they got into the sack with the evilest man they ever met. If your morals and your principles and the things that you believe switch like this, you're a dirtbag. You hear me? If you can say to the world, I think that man is the most evil bastard I've ever met, and 4 days later you can decide you want to put your lips on his simply because the enemy of my enemy is a friend of yours, you're a bad human being. Yeah, you are. You see, things like morals and values and scruples, they're fixed. Doesn't mean that over time you might not soften on issues, but to go, I believe in X, and the following day go, I no longer believe in X. And the only reason is because you hate me, or you hate Reese, or you hate some other content creator, you need psychiatric help. I'm not joking. In theory, you build up morals and values and the things that you believe in and what you take a stand on. That's a lifetime excursion. Take 2. I no longer like Tommy Scoville. You can say the N-word around me now. I don't care. All of those things that I found offensive from you, they're no longer offensive on account of the fact that Tommy's a scumbag. It's a pretty ugly world. And I'm sorry if this if this sounds like I'm being a dick, but I've been chewing this for a really long time and I don't talk about it. I don't talk about people. I don't lash out at people, but I spent a lot of time today doing correspondence back and forth with people. A couple of them who I really thought I knew well. And a couple of them who told me that they thought they knew me. They're offended at me because I caught them somewhere saying, Tommy's a piece of shit. If I hung out with you, right, and we were associates, and then someone said, hey, you know, I heard Tommy say like 8 times that you're a scumbag, it would hurt your feelings. But if that person's a content creator, you're not allowed to have your feelings hurt. In other words, you can watch my show and then go anywhere you want and call me a rapist and then come back over here and tell me you love me. The next person can go over to someone else's channel, right, and call me a child molester and then come back over here and tell me you love me. And I shouldn't be offended for anything you do outside of this platform because you're protecting yourself, right? If I don't say that, these people will attack me. Maybe don't put yourself in a platform where someone will attack you for not hating someone enough. Just a thought. Sorry. You know, some nights you probably shouldn't go live. Maybe tonight was one of them. Terribly sorry. Truthfully, I am. But sorry, folks. Really, I am. You can only swallow it for so long before it starts to do the thing in the back of the throat. You know what I mean? The crazy thing is this. I'm probably not upset at the people you think I'm upset at. I'm not. A great deal of them, I think, kind of got worked. And that happens to the best of us. And not by who you think either. You know what? I can't do this. I can't because I'd be talking about content creators and I'm not doing that. I'm just not. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go take a wicked good nap and play with my cat. I'll come back tomorrow and we'll pretend this show didn't happen. How would that be? Between now and the next time I see you, maybe reduce a little harm between now and the next time I see you, huh? I'm Tommy. Catch you on the next one.